Hi there, it's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And I am going out for a health walk. It's what I call my little nightly things when I go out at night. Come check us out in Shreveport, Bossier. Lots of fun things to do. Uh, the whole point of this channel, first and foremost, for you guys, what I want to communicate is how wonderful I believe my home area is. So, yeah, I'm out to get a little physical exercise. That's the walk. But I also find getting out when it's quiet, uh, peacefully therapeutic. Gives me some cardio. Yeah. And also, slight sense of adventure, of just getting out and just you never know what the world's going to hold. The last thing I want to do is spend although I'm very happy to have an apartment and a place to live, the very last thing I want to do is wake up every day and spend my entire life just sitting in the apartment and never getting out and doing anything. And the first tip that I have on that is to get out and interact with the real world. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my day because it was a little bit hectic, but for a weird reason. I woke up prepared to go out and do the things that I was going to do, and early, but realized as soon as I did that there was a power outage, and it was kind of widespread while they were doing some repairs or whatever, and so it was down for about 3 or 4 hours. Well, I don't keep fast food at the house. And it was even in the daytime. My 2 bathrooms, I have two fortunate, they are located on the side of the apartment where there's no natural light shining directly into them. So it's not like I can it's not like I could go in there and shave and groom and everything like that. So really what I did, and this was in the morning, so what do? I was like, okay, go back to bed, and then all the daytime stuff that I was going to do today, I'll do tomorrow. But I thought I'd take a nap, and and it just turned out that I did take a nap. And I napped until the last minute. Something jolted me awake. And I'll tell you, it was a friend. It was a dream that I had about a friend who had gotten a new car, but in a roundabout kind of way. In a very roundabout kind of way. I dreamed that a friend had loaned me their car to use, but only on, only for short distances and in for a very specified purpose, right? So, in this dream, the friend was contacting me like every 5 or 6 minutes, like after I, just borrowed, and then remotely shutting down the car, and wouldn't turn it back on or whatever until I could answer or something like that, and it was just somebody. So it kind of let me know one thing that I do is I micromanage favors, sometimes, and so to back off on that, if you do somebody a favor, but you lay down all these conditions on it, sometimes it doesn't come to fruition or goodness or something like that. So when it's time to give or share with an open heart and without condition. That is the lesson that I'm taking away from the dream. But it was so fun. And the roundabout way is I wake up And my friend, who's in recovery with me, is celebrating 2 years today. And I wake up and I realize, oh my God, it's so late. Maybe there's not enough time to do anything. So I sent a text, hey, is there time to go to the meeting? Blah, blah, blah. She texted back, yes, there's just enough time. I'm leaving the car dealership. I just got a new car. It's not exactly the narrative of the dream, but close enough that there's a connection and theme, so whatever. I think we're all a little bit precognizant anyway. We all have these hunches, we all have these life experiences, these bits of deja vu, or these bits of, I know where this could go. So I don't think anyone's special for that. I think that's a natural thing that God put into us to listen to. Okay. I'm talking as I'm walking briskly. Anyway, she picked me up. We went to the meeting, came home, made a dinner. Looking through the kitchen, it's like, what can I do? A little bit of sausage, a little bit of ground beef. I'm gonna make a meatloaf, so that's what I did. And it's waiting for me when I get home. But I also wanted to come out and do some walking, and I knew that if I ate before I did the walk, I wouldn't walk. So it's a Thursday night. In my mind, I'm gonna say it's around 10 p.m. So, I went to sleep early this morning. I'm not eating a single thing. I'm gonna go ahead and not eat until it's close enough to midnight. That's my calorie count. My midnight starts over, at 12 a.m. That's when all my numbers and everything that I'm counting in my diet, it all starts over. So that's not why I'm doing the walk, though. I just totally realized that, hey, it's close enough. I may as well just go ahead and make this a full-on day of fasting, And when I say midnight, for me, that's anywhere from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., in that little 2-hour thing, is fair to say, hey, that's my dietary midnight. There's not that much going on. Let me flip this over. Take a little bit of walking. This is one of 50 Cent, the G Unit. He has a store down here. It's kind of neat. I think I've passed by that and mentioned it before. Sometimes there's events there. Not tonight. There's all sorts of things to do. On this end of Texas Street, it's relatively quiet. Southern University, one of their campuses. This one's a downtown campus. It's pretty cool. And if you're here, if you don't know this, there's a dental program. And they will clean your teeth for a very cheap price. If you haven't had your teeth cleaned, they will do a deep cleaning for your teeth. And so if you, for some reason, didn't have insurance, they would do that. Okay. Let's see. What is there to talk about? Well, I just wanted to come down here. I'm going to come down here, walk over to the river, kind of look at it, do the whole turn right around and come back, because I do have food waiting on me. And I'll talk about the food when I get back. Because if I talk about it now, then I wouldn't have anything to talk about. I am going to start, my electricity was out, and then I woke up late in the evening, totally slept. I think when that kind of thing happens, it's your body just really needs that sleep. And sometimes you're just like, damn it, I'm gonna sleep. That's what happens to the body. The body takes over. I forget the word for it. I don't want to say psychosomatic, because I feel that is linked with hypochondrianism, where you just kind of imagined sickness or whatever. But I don't want to use that term, so I'm going to go with the best thing that I can think of. Although I know there are other more professional, medical professional terms for this. It is the mind-body connection. And it's one of these things where it's really hard to concretely prove, but it's widely been observed that the better a person's positive outlook is, even in the most dire situations, then their psychology, then their, the mind connects with the body. And, and it's true, when you're depressed, when you're absolutely sad and depressed, it comes out in the body and it hurts the body. It feels terrible for the body. The body will have no energy. Okay, so the mood can affect the physical health of the body. Too much worry and stress can cause and will cause physical properties that happen in the body that may not be healthy. All sorts of things could happen. Let's see what else. But it works the other way, that if you're facing a physical health crisis or situation, maybe it's not even a crisis, but something you've got to overcome, the more positive you are about it, there's a physical thing that happens with the endocrine system. It responds to that positivity, that positive thinking, and starts producing the healing physically that needs to happen. Whereas if you're telling yourself and you're sad and you're telling yourself, this is the end, this is hopelessness, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to overcome this, then that's going to hinder your mind connecting with your endocrine system, talking about producing those healing things, So, I believe in that. And it's not really a pseudoscience either. So, just as I was crossing this street, I got there were some people sitting down and they were totally smoking out. So, out of respect for their privacy, I paused the camera as I passed by. But, here we are at the lighted bridge. And so I'm just going to walk over, do my thing, look at the river, turn around and walk back to the house. That was already planned, This is an act of discipline. What I wanted to do as soon as that food was ready, I wanted to dive in and chow down. And I just had to say, you know what? You haven't been to the gym lately, at least you can get out and you can sweat off and maybe slim down a little bit. Okay. What are your thoughts on that? It's not a pseudoscience, a mind-body connection. It's just something that's been widely observed. That this thing, she needs to walk before she steps up from those cars because they do not stop. It's like Louisiana, in New Orleans, Louisiana, in around the French Quarter and the areas around there. The traffic's really thick, and there's so many drunk people that they know that people are going to stumble into the road and everything like that, and they will stop for you. They won't like it. But yeah, randomly people will just step out in traffic. Just stupidity. A lot of death wishes down there, I guess. And the traffic will stop. So, hang on. Do you guys remember that story, the Billy Goat's gruff about the trolls under the bridge? We got a couple of those. Harmless though. Okay. So, I forgot what I was talking about. I do that a lot too. And I'm talking about the mind-body connection. And yeah, just medical professional talks about the more positive and experiences, or the more positive the outlook is. Hey, there's hope. There is hope until there is not hope, and there is not hope when life has left the body. But even then, having a positive experience at the end of life, or they don't call it hospice anymore, they call it end of life. Having a positive experience in that can be the sign that the life has been well lived, and one of these days we're all going to pass on, we're all going to die. What I want is I want to be able to say that that I've had as few regrets as possible, and that I had some experience in this life, that it wasn't just me sitting in a room or walking around the same few blocks. I also believe, hang on, there's a place under the bridge called the G Spot from G Unit, and it's basically a daiquiri. Yeah, it's basically, they sell daiquiris and alcoholic beverages and things like that. It's a bar, and you can come under the bridge and everything like that on the week. I've seen it busier on the weekend, like now, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, than during the week. Let's see. Not really feeling casinos. Okay, so I believe in this life, whatever I have, I'm made up of tissue, and it's been observed that I think we know about this, the string theories, and not just observations of how light particles behave when they're being observed versus when they're not being observed. Sometimes they'll, when they're being observed, they, they act in a specific way when being projected and reflected upon and everything like that. And then when they are being observed, their pattern of behavior changes in a very specific way. I do know the specifics, My notes are not right in front of me. But I think what a neat little thing to think that what I'm made of and what this world, and matter is finite. There's a limited amount of matter in existence, and it just keeps, recycling. It doesn't end. I don't know how it began, if it began. It was so funny because in the universe, in this, we have no idea in the term of all that ever was and all that ever will be. We have no idea if we are young or old, where we are in that. And if there is no beginning and there is no end, there's also no form that all this is locked into. We have no idea. We don't know. So, people come out and check, because I'm sweaty now. So I'm just going to come over and spend a few minutes looking at the lights on the bridge. And I'll show you in a moment. I'll flip the camera over and we'll see what's going on the bridge. Let me finish this point. I think that there is an inherent knowledge that life and all that is life, or all that will be life, even if it's not alive, will take with it. Such as, evidence. There are certain things. There are certain bacteria, specifically, I think that what comes to mind are viruses. Viruses are not living. They do not live until they are bonded to something else that's living. In a way, that's kind of like reproduction. There are what is to be fertilized, you might call an egg, and what is to fertilize, and in life we might call that a spermatozoa, whatever. I don't know, but we call it whatever. And so, sorry kids, this is not for you. I always say it's not for kids. I don't know if they let you know my conversations are sometimes not appropriate for younger children. Not that I mean to be crass, but here's the thing. These pieces of what will become life, even though they're not truly life by any sort of definition of life, they're just kind of like what will become life. Such as once an egg is fertilized and starts growing and changing and morphing and everything, then it is definitely life. So, and I believe that we take those things with us. We take certain knowledge with us, and with that knowledge, and with the whole idea that everything recycles and recycles, what it lets me kind of think, there's got to be, at the very fundamental bits of it, a knowledge that is inherited from iteration to iteration, from form to form, from particle to particle, as it grows or whatever. So that's that is evident to me, that there is some sort of spark of instruction or code or behavior, that because there is no reason why even two identical particles of matter should behave exactly the same way, but they do. And that is how physics works. Okay, let's look at the bridge. I love it. Get some last time I was down here, I don't think they changed the pattern up. We were still doing like a lot of red, white, and blue. I definitely can tell you the pattern has changed this time. So and I in my mind, I'm thinking the last time I was down here, it was last month, July, or you know. And it was shortly after that first Friday, whatever, I came down here and looked, and I think I was all excited. So I can't tell if this is the exact same pattern or not. But if you want to know, scroll back and look at when I was down here. That was the night that I discovered they really actually had gotten the, I knew they were going to, I knew they were so close to it, that they actually had opened the sprinkler parks back up. And I'm going to walk us down there. It's the middle of the night. I'm going to walk us down to the sprinkler system so we can see once again in this video what they look like when they're not lit up and kids are not jumping all the way around. But, you know, it sometimes makes me want to put on my, oh, no kidding, they're on right now. I totally could put on yeah, I could totally put on my water wear, my bathing gear, and come down here and splash around. And you know what? I'd have no guilt about it at all. If the lights are on and that water's coming up and everything like that, why not run down here? I don't care. I don't know. Are there zones? Is there zoning against it? I don't know. Should I act like a fully grown man? I'm not fully grown. I'm as grown as I'm gonna get, I think, as far as like physically. Anyway. I'm probably about as mature in my mental thinking as I'm gonna get. Life experience will have something to do with some of it, but the truth is, I'm happy with the way things are, you know. Okay, like the chore of getting through childhood, adolescence, puberty, teen insecurity, young adult failure, all the while hungering to connect with people through creativity, which is a language not a lot of people speak, and if they do, they don't. A lot of us speak it in the same, it's kind of like Australian English to Seattle English or whatever. Totally different in a lot of things. The expressions and jargons and local colloquialisms. Yeah, so we don't always know what the hell we're saying to each other or whatever. Those faraway cultures, even though, you know, so, you know, or, you know, or, yeah, so, you know, like Spanish languages, Latin languages, they come in different dialects, and one Spanish here is vastly different. And they may not even be all Spanish. You know, to even say that is probably offensive to some cultures, you know, like, yeah, whatever. So, yeah. Could I come down here and play? You bet your sweet ass I could. I don't see a posting that says park closes at this time. And my apartment complex should have a pool. It does, 3.5 feet, but they never open it. So even just going out to like lay out or whatever would not work. I would totally do this. I also would totally break my toe or something. I'd be jumping around, splashing, and then, you know, I'm clumsy. I'd be like in my bare feet or my flip-flops or something like that. And, yeah. Look at this. Water and electricity. As you know, the last time they built it, when they built this and they started this, all the lights weren't here. There was a flood, and it took them, how long to get this up? That was in, yeah, 17 years or something like that. 17, 16 years, but definitely over 15 years. It took them that long to get this back. Look at the space in between here. For some reason, in my little mind, even when I was down here before, all the kids, I didn't get real close to it, but they were all running and splashing. And I thought that they were a lot closer together. I do think this is cool. I do think because I'm a conservationist, why not turn it off at a certain time? But maybe it's one of those things where it's like one of those things where it really doesn't take a lot to keep it going. And it's like one of those office toys almost where it's like a perpetual thing. Somehow I think not. I think there's something to, you have to have something. Certainly in the point of keeping it a little bit clean or something like that, because otherwise it would just get gross and eventually it'd be like splashing around in a great big bidet, you know. But yeah, I could see myself coming down here, especially if I had a couple of people, contemporaries around my age or whatever, just coming down here and just getting all like wet and then drying off and walking home or whatever. I definitely could see that. I wouldn't want to do it by myself because I come down here with like bags and stuff like that. And when you're out here running around splashing, you don't want someone to run up and like grab your bag and run away or whatever. So, let's walk over this way. I'm about to head back to the apartment. I'm glad I came out. Kind of want to walk along this part of the fountain. I love this fountain. It's not lit right now. Do you remember sometime they had the LED lights? And I was like, so cool. I suspect the LED are still there. I suspect they're just not working. But that's okay. Or maybe they decided, hey, let's not do LED at the fountain fall, the waterfall. This is the fountain. That's a sprinkler park. This is the fountain. That's how I'm going to refer to these things. So, the one thing that's changed in me, the one major thing that I will say that has evolved in me physically is that now, as I walk around, step down, step up, step down, or whatever, if there's a handrail, I will brace and use the handrail. That's basically it, you know. Okay, so if I'm coming upstairs and there's a handrail, I'll just touch the handrail and just kind of whatever. But it's not for lack of balance or anything like that. It's just because, well, I don't know. Slips can happen, and yay, you know. So I'm entered that stage of life where it's like, gee, I don't want to fall, you know. But like little kids can fall, and they bounce, you know. and adults fall and break bones. You know, so let's not do that. Okay. Love the bridge. But I'm gonna head back home. I'm gonna go up Texas Street, make a beeline. I'm totally hungry, but I'm totally justified in what I have, and can't wait to show you. From the time I left, and I've not paused this video too often, except for when I was walking past somebody and I wanted to, whatever. So the pauses, when I paused it, they've been very brief, like just a moment or so. So when you're looking at this and you're seeing at this point about 36 minutes, it's literally maybe been 38 minutes. And that's how long that I've left my apartment, walked all the way down here, walked all over that park, took a moment to reflect on lights, and have walked back. But seriously, these walks are very healthy. It's good to take advantage of one's faculties. You know, I don't know. There was a time when I drove a cab, and I can't tell you how many different types of jobs I've ever had. There's a period where I drove a cab for a local company here in Shreveport, and I was the kind of the person who was always on. Always. And when it came time to eat, it was food in my cab from fast food. And me, this thin person that I am, and I know that I'm not like the thin thing that I used to be in my 20s, but in my 30s, I kind of ballooned up a little bit, you know, like, oh my god, you know. And then I set out to do things like this, get healthier. I lost some weight, got in better shape, even though I'm not like the physical whatever. As we get past this G-spot daiquiri thing, I'm gonna probably pause the video, walk out of it until I get under the bridge. Just, you know, whatever. But then I'll come back to talking about my physical journey, my physical health, which is mostly preventive at this point. Now I'm gonna pause. Alright, you may be able to hear it or see it in the background, but I did walk, put you on pause so I can walk just to this side of the, under the bridge, so I can get away from the noise. So, yeah. So I really got into the whole, like, getting really within my target zone. And I think at one point I had a goal, and I think I got within like maybe 6 pounds over the goal that I had. So I'm gonna cross. What I did around that time, and these are just things that I was documenting in my Facebook before I deleted the Facebook thing. Then what I started to do is go to gyms and do that, get real intent on physical, you know. I still don't build muscle very easily. Hang on. So, you know, I just now was passing a few people, and out of respect for their anonymity, I paused the video as I passed them by, so I didn't actually, you know, catch them on camera. But yeah, I started to get more involved with physical stuff, physical building. And I still don't build muscle very well. And, but there are different body types, you know. And some people build and retain that muscle. That's the breed of person that they are. Some people do not. And some people, yet again, have a harder time with fat weight, you know. And some of that can be, you know, the physical and lifestyle habits can help. But there is there are genetics, you know, that make physical fitness a little bit easier for some than others, and I get that. However, for the most part, we can prolong life and livelihood by making the healthier choices. I still have a few bad habits. I intake too much caffeine, and yeah, I still smoke cigarettes. I don't like chain smoke all day long, but you know, let me run out of cigarettes when I want to have a cigarette. My nicotine fit is horrible because aside from it being nicotine and I want a cigarette, I'm also an addict and I hate being inconvenienced. That's the worst, man. You know, so okay, running out of steam, but I do want to kind of get back to the apartment before I end this video, so we'll see. I tend to walk fast when I'm out. Sometimes it's a slow stroll or whatever, but definitely got to get out and walk. Hang on. This is I don't know. Whatever. All I heard was Dala. I didn't hear what she was saying. I didn't want to be mean and be like, no, don't talk to me, bitch. I'm not that kind of person. I just kind of gave her the yeah, I kind of waved at her, you know. But here's the thing. Downtown Shreveport. Okay, I will point it out to you as I walk on. That's something I can talk about. I'm not going to walk all the way over there because my goal is to walk home and eat. But, okay, so we're coming up on Marshall Street. So that's kind of cool. We want to go one street past Marshall, and I think it's Edward Street, but I'll definitely be able to tell you when I get there. So, you know, if I ever win like $1 zillion, which is the only way I'd ever have like that kind of mega money, I would invest in downtown property, make it very residential. I'd have like the most fantastic living experience, and then I would offer to share it. Okay, no, here we're at Edwards. Okay, Edwards merges with Marshall Street down at this end. 1 block in is I don't know what the hell they call it. Oh, McNeil. How do I not know that? McNeil Street and I have a very long history. Okay, so I can use the landmark of the street. If you don't want to say McNeil, you can use the landmark of the corner of Texas Street, 500 Texas Street. There's the library that they're going to be working on. I see that they've taken the scaffolds down. I lived for when they reopened this. I had a Blu-ray player, and I gave that away to someone as a part of it. Was either a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or something like that. It was a very well-made one. Whenever they open this back up and they have media like that, then I will buy another machine and I'll use it. So it's McNeil Street, but look. And if you're here and you find yourself, or you find yourself in a transient situation, I want to welcome you, but I also want to let you know that we're pretty good. There is that last far light down there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Right around there is the Shreveport Bossier Rescue Mission. Now they give you, if you need it, a week in which you can, and it's like, you can't see it from here, it's like right over to the right, you know, and it's Fairfield blocks, you know, that, you know, so it's right there. So we're gonna go down, and yeah. Anyway, I'll give you a week, and then if you really want to change things around, got a long-term program in which they can help you find your foundation, and you will, you know, be able to go out and look for work in the daytime. And there's opportunity for work. Here's the problem that I used to find. So many times people will not take a job because it's not in their chosen field. They will not take a job because it is minimum wage, or maybe if it's in daily, you know, when you are hungry and you I don't know, maybe you want to do something like buy a pack of cigarettes or something occasionally or whatever, you know, when it's desperate time. If you're really desperate, you know, take the job that you don't want to take. Do it. Build your resume with it, and it's easier now than ever to look around. There, you know, I worked a lot of jobs when I was working that I didn't want to work until my retirement came through or whatever. So do that, you know. But aside from everything, never give up. Okay. Where are we going? Yeah, right up here. 2 streets over is something else. It's 2 blocks up on Texas Street. Then I'm going to point you in that same direction. Is yeah, it's actually on this block right here. So yeah, but it's a resource center called the Lovewell Center. They're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. They close to the public on Thursdays, but they do have specialized training for smaller groups that they call the VIP on Thursdays. I think they close on Fridays. They do open on Saturday, and it's a ministry, so they do have some church on Sundays or whatever throughout, you know. So, and different, you know, different. It's a resource in which they can help someone who is living outside have a better experience, but also offers ways to help. Yeah, they approach it without judgment to the individual. This is your life. This is what you're doing. Okay, come in. We're going to treat you with love. That's why it's called the Lovewell. It's part of a ministry called the Hub, which a lot of ministries around town come together, and you know, there's various things. Okay, so there's that. There is a program. I'm going to show you. I'm on Texas Street right now, right? Do you see when I flip this light right there? And this diagonal street that goes off diagonal. That begins what is called Texas Avenue, or whatever. So it intersects with Cotton Street, I believe, and Cotton Street becomes Texas Avenue. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Oh, look, wow, that was weird. Buses running this time of night, but they are only gonna run sporadically this time of night, and then they're going to right around 12:30 or 1 they do their last run. So if you're away from town, you're not coming back in by bus by that point. So that was a glitch of me flipping this. I hope that doesn't mean that I started the video over accidentally. I hate that when I'm making a video and then there's some sort of technical glitch or something. I touch the screen the wrong way or something and screws up my whole thing. I really want this to be all in one video. I need to learn how to use editing software. Anyway, then I could like make entertaining YouTube videos. I had this thing where my YouTube, I want it to be me talking about my city and things. But anyway, without the gimmickry, I feel like it's a more real experience. Okay, so going down East Texas, not too far for most people to walk, especially if you have to, is a coalition called Hope for the Homeless. There's a hospitality kitchen where they feed the homeless people. There's a lot of resources. Also right down there is something called the McAdoo, which is actually part of the Volunteers of America. And the Volunteers of America in Shreveport, they have a lot of housing opportunities that they work with people who have emotional or mental issues of a medical nature or whatever, and it's their ministry to take care of those people, and so if the Salvation Army was a ministry for homeless people, and they do help people, in that situation, then there is and I think it was the son of the person who started it or whatever, so it's kind of an offshoot. There's not really connected, but they kind of share some resources in various areas. Like some of the vans that they use, some of the vehicles, they kind of share between the organizations, but Volunteers of America helps people and with the goal of ministry to the people who have any sort of disabilities that it hinder. I say mental, and that's kind of where it started, but they also work with physical, because often those things are interlinked. So, and what else? There's a lot of places. There are a lot of. That's just a touch. That's just scratching the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of ways to get off the streets if you're living outside, and if you want to make that transition, there are ways. You will sometimes have to get someplace and get patient and go through the channels and get some case management. That's one of the things that they do at Hope for the Homeless, is there is case management. So it is a matter of asking the right questions to the right people. If you have someone who is recovering from an addiction and they're living outside and they're in a homeless situation, then you need to refer them to the resources that can help in that direction best. And sometimes there are waiting lists, but they're not nearly as long. There's a lot of that here, but there's a lot of that in a lot of areas, in a lot of cities, smaller cities, anything that's kind of a anything that's the central location of any sort of local culture or something like that. There's probably something like that, and if need be, if they don't have it locally, they can help get you to the nearest place that does have it. You just have to, if you're strong enough and determined enough that you're going to survive living outside, if that's what you have to do, or even if that's what you're choosing to do, then at a time when you are ready to make that transition, if that's what you decide to do, then quite literally, there are ways that you can change what it is that you're doing, and find a place to live, because it can kill you to live outside in a thunderstorm for a lot of different reasons, and especially if we're not properly taking care of our nutrition. We're not, you know what I mean, for a lot of, if things aren't really being taken care of physically with our body and stuff in the ways that it should be, and we're depriving ourselves of shelter, all that can accumulate. Those little small things like the scratch that gets infected can accumulate, so, from lack of basic health care, when you're always, if you're not in a place that has like a free clinic or a free hospital or something like that, you could risk getting sick, So what we have to do is we have to take care of ourselves first and foremost, so that we can be available whenever we do decide to be a part of someone else's experience. We want to give them the best version of ourselves that we can give them, right? Even without expectation of return. And in order to do that, we have to take care of ourselves. So that's the main thing. Preventive, as much that we can prevent, because, it's what we have. We have today. Let's make the most of it. Okay. What do I do? Do I walk around here? Or do I coast up this hill here and go up the back way? Which is actually closer to my apartment anyway. But yeah, screw it. Okay. I'm gonna walk and I'm gonna use handrails. No handrails. But because I do what I can to take care of myself, I can sort of jog up this hill. There's that Kate Bush song, Running Up That Hill. But also, got tired of running. Started walking about halfway up. Okay. They really need to do something. I know they don't, because they want to discourage people from that drainage system. Do they call those gutters that runs into the sewer? But also, gutters are what's on the outside of the house. So, but it's all for irrigation, draining, or whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe it means gutters mean both things. A lot of our street gutters, drainage ditches, we just call them growing up, a lot of them are naturally where bayous were, which are interconnected channels between smaller bodies of water, and they all flow into the river systems. If they're not a bayou, and they're not part of that interconnected system that run into the river systems, then what they are ponds or marshes inside of swamps or whatever. So, but a lot of that drainage, we had the topography of the land or whatever, if that's appropriately using the land, was already draining in those directions. So we used drainage stitches. So I left the lights on. Let me pause the video. Hey, look, tis a meatloaf. I also made some fried potatoes. I'm going to talk about that once I get this plated up. So let's get to the table and I'll talk about it as I'm eating. I'm so hungry. I also need to pause and breathe. Okay, so it's about 10 minutes till 11. Close enough. I'll wait 10 minutes. Okay, so yay. And like I said, I do hope this is one video and I didn't accidentally break it or disturb it or something when I was flipping that camera around. The meatloaf here, let's look at it. This is not a meatloaf that was made with breadcrumb. Okay. I had a little bread, but I wanted to save it in case I want a meatloaf sandwich or something like that later on, because there will be leftover for this. Get a nice crust on this, which is good. I did about 2 pounds of ground hamburger beef, however you get it. There's different qualities of it. This was 80-20. Works for me. With about half a pound of Italian sausage, pork sausage. I took those in a bowl with about 2/3 a cup of self-rising flour. Added a little bit, just eyeballed it, but maybe about a tablespoon, a good tablespoon of baking powder to add to that. 2 eggs. And I didn't worry about adding oil, because there was going to be the oil from the meats, and then there's probably a good 1/4 pound of smoked Gouda and about 1/8 pound of blue cheese, all mixed in. Little bit of beef bouillon. There's salt in these things, so I didn't have to add any salt, but I did add a little bit of red pepper to it. And you see what I'm getting? A meatloaf is very forgiving. What you don't want to do is take a meatloaf and just put a big old thing of meat and dump it in a pan and call it a loaf. You got to do things to it, add flavor to it. Otherwise, why not just make a hamburger steak? So anyway, we got a good crust on the outside, and I put this in the air fryer, and I did it on, hell, I don't even know. I don't even know if it was on convection oven setting or air fryer setting. In my machine, they're very similar. The convection oven, the heat comes from top and bottom. And there is a fan that moves. And the air fryer, the air comes from the top, and then there's a fan that blows. But I noticed the fan blows with a lot more intensity with the air fryer. And so, I don't know which one cooks, but what I did, I think it was the convection oven. I'm going to go look. I want to give correct information. Air fryer, set to top out at 400. I didn't really wait for it to preheat. I went ahead and put everything in the pan, the greased pan that I greased, and used cornstarch on the bottom of a greased pan to help keep from sticking. And oh my God, did that work wonderfully. Okay, so put it in there for about 45 minutes, took it out, topped it with the topping, which was a barbecue sauce that I had a little bit left over, and I put a little bit of water and kind of thinned it out and shook it up in the bottle, and then poured it along the top. Worked great. Put it back in and let it go for about another 10 minutes till I got this firm crust. So that's very good. Meatloaf. You could, if you don't like it this bruleed, I should say, this charred, you can cover it and it'll keep it from getting this charred. I don't mind that. Oh my God. This is a delicious flavor. This is probably one of the best meatloaves that I've made. There's no cracker in here, and I didn't have bread. But I used that filler of the flour, and there's no floury flavor to this. This would work. You know what would have been cool? Oh, there's garlic, granulated garlic in here, and I used into the meat, and that's where a lot of the flavor comes from. The Kitchen Bouquet. Okay, this is one of these things that's going to have a slight, charming saltiness to it. You'll balance that with any sort of black pepper, which I just happen to have right here in the form of these fried potatoes. I do not peel my fries, and so I'm not using condiment because if you eat without a condiment, you can reduce calories, that kind of things. Even though these are deep fried potatoes, we can make it worse by scooping up big large things of yeah. So anyway, what's on here? Nothing but cracked peppercorn. Okay, don't need to worry about salt because we're going to get some salt in here. Very pleasant though, very pleasant amount. And then black pepper here. And you're going to get your American balance of salt and pepper. This would be good also on a sandwich. Meatloaf makes a great sandwich. I'm very pleased for this. Yeah, no. You don't have to add a bunch of salt to this. Oh, something else I didn't tell you in the ingredients, and I'm glad I'm going to do this. I'm going to run it down from the top. I'm going to think in my head for a second. 2 pounds of ground beef, 1/2 pound of sausage, 2 eggs, about 1/2 cup of milk, about 2/3 cup of self-rising flour, about a good tablespoon of baking powder, and then Kitchen Bouquet, and the 2 cheeses, and then a little bit of red pepper. No, but that's not enough in there. It gave it just a under. You don't really taste it. It's there for a balance. And then, of course, top with the barbecue sauce. I'm trying to think, did I put any green herbs in here? I don't think I did. You can though. But yeah, it's a bit of the blue cheese right there. With the blue cheese, the smoked Gouda. There's blue cheese and there's smoked Gouda in here. With the smoked Gouda, I left in larger bits for a visual look, but also so we'll get those pockets of smoked Gouda flavor. Blue cheese was in blue cheese crumbles already, so I just kind of mashed it in with everything, and it sort of melted with it, and comes with its own little saltiness to it. And then what I didn't tell you just now as I was going through the list, there's one other thing. I did put beef bouillon powder. Probably 1/4 of a cup, and if I were to do it over, I think I probably could get by with just 1/8 of a cup. It wouldn't need that at all if you're going to do a brown sauce or a gravy rather than a barbecue sauce over this. Okay. Love this. My particular house drink, Coke Zero. Love and light, people. Bon appetit. God bless and good night.